Before I begin to enter the deep dark cave of Swedish stereotypes, let's start off by simply explaining what stereotypes are. It is an expectation that people might have about every person of a particular group. The type of expectation can vary. It can be, for example, an expectation about the group's personality, preferences, appearance, or ability. Like when people talk about how quiet and reserved Swedes are in public places like the bus. It's true, we generally like to keep our business to ourselves, and we might have taken the stranger danger saying a little bit too seriously. Jokes aside, if my neighbor were to knock on my door asking if he can come in for a coffee, I would politely slam the door on him. Oh, that was a joke. There's plenty of different views out there on what Swedish stereotypes actually are. Do we all own just one pair of red pants? Do we all drink too much? Are all women tall and blonde? Is Sweden Tinder paradise? Is Swedish food disgusting? Well, according to Vice's results after asking Danish people what they think of when they think of Sweden, that is what came to their tiny mind. Well, I don't like your food either, Denmark. Well, that's rude. I actually know I have no idea. But where did these stereotypes come from? Let's take a look at the examples I just mentioned. So, about the red pants. This is in fact a pretty recently made stereotype. It only dates back to 2011 when an artist named Peter08 released a song called Sture P, Skjorta, kavaj och röda byxor, which translates into shirt, blazer and red trousers. It was a summer hit, and for some reason I guess the message about wearing red trousers really stuck with a lot of people. It could also originate from the myth that sailors sailing across the Atlantic were the only ones allowed to wear red trousers. Not even just Swedish sailors, but all sailors in general. But how it became specifically a Swedish stereotype? Your guess is as good as mine. Who else likes to enjoy a cold beer or two with a delicious steak, roasted garlic and mashed potatoes? Or who likes to enjoy drinking a beer like water at a party and passing out before 8 o'clock, completely ruining the vibe for the rest of the night? I know I do. But do we enjoy it a tad bit too much maybe? Or are we Swedes just born without an alcohol limit? Not really. Actually, people in Scandinavia consume the least amount of alcohol in the entire Europe. Nevertheless, Swedes tend to drink and drive more than our neighboring countries. So, maybe Swedes should hit the brakes on drinking a little bit. See what I did there? Let's say you were on your way to meet a tall, blonde, blue-eyed woman at a cafe you've texted back and forth with on Tinder. You can't just show up barely being able to pronounce your name, maybe even mistaking her for the nice 82-year-old lady who greeted you once you fell out your car seat, you drunko. But you weren't actually mistaken because her Tinder bio was fake, since that tall, blonde, blue-eyed supermodel stereotype is false. Yes, on the surface it might seem like most Swedish girls are tall, blonde and blue-eyed. However, in general, Swedish women are shorter than the Danish. This doesn't have to be something negative though. Who says tall, blonde, blue-eyed women are what we want? Not much else to say about this stereotype though, but there it is. I've spoken to some members of my family and some friends about this subject, and they had a few interesting things to say. A couple years ago, a friend of my dad had asked him if polar bears were roaming the streets of Sweden. I literally couldn't believe that he had actually asked him that question. Like, polar bears? Really? To clarify, no. Polar bears definitely do not roam the streets in Sweden. They live someplace else, like where it's very, very cold. Well, come to think about it, I guess saying Sweden then wasn't the dumbest idea. Let's talk about something that Sweden is known for. Not musically or anything like that, but how we like our stuff. We like everything in moderation. Seasoning Swedish food? Be moderate. Tapping up a bath for a Swede? Keep the temperature moderate. Putting on some music around Swedes? Keep the volume moderate. Pouring a Swede a glass of whiskey? Pour excessive. What I'm trying to say is that we usually don't like things that are excessive or underdone. We want things to be in the middle. Like, there's even a Swedish word for it that isn't translatable into English. Hence, why I'm using the word moderate. The Swedish word I'm referring to is lagom. Like when the shower is at perfect temperature, not too hot and not too cold, it's lagom. There's a bunch of different and mind-boggling stereotypes floating around out there. Unfortunately, I cannot cover them all. But something I yet have to cover are the true stereotypes. Even though there aren't a lot of true Swedish stereotypes, I still feel like I have to mention at least one of them. So what stereotype am I talking about? Well, did you know that in Sweden, COVID-19 has existed forever? Well, not literally, but if you are ever in Sweden, visit a bus stop or simply just get on the bus, I can guarantee you that the Swedes will be staying 4 feet away from each other at all times, even inside the bus. If there are any kids, they'll probably occupy the seat next to them with their backpack. To wrap everything up and to actually tell you what I think about Swedish stereotypes, since I obviously haven't thrown in personal thoughts and feelings about different stereotypes in this video so far, I thought I'd share what I think about this. I don't necessarily care for stereotypes. I never really thought about them. However, I do find it interesting that something negative like prejudice could bring fun stories and in some cases even traditions. I don't think stereotypes are going to fade out as time passes. I believe the stereotype catalog will continue to fill up space until aliens takes over our planet.